Hey everyone, this is Febe,
And I'm Merkei.
and we're here to talk to you today about last week's Path of Fire demo.
Which, if you guys missed it because you didn't have access to it, you can download the game as it's free to play, and you'll have access to any other demos after this one.
Yeah, though it is free to play, there are some restrictions, but if you're new to the game, you just want to try it out, you want to see what all this hype is about, you can download the client. I'll put a link in the description box below, and it will be free to play, and you can upgrade your account at any time, either in-game or at the main website.
Guess let's talk about the story,
Yeah.
as that's sort of the big thing that it runs right into. So Elona has been cut off ever since Lytan rose, because he brought up ore. Now, here we are sort of landing in Elona for the first time.
So as soon as we dock in Elona, after that wonderful cutscene, we come up on these two really big pyramids that are apparently sinking. They're gorgeous and massive, by the way, just a side note. But there's explosions going on, and we have to run in, which I don't think is a good idea. But we have to do it anyway, because that's where our green star is, and you have to follow the green star to the death, according to Merkei.
It's true, you do. Although for now we have a green circle.
Yeah.
Still here we are fighting the Forged, which are Balthazar's minions. And as you can see, the big attack there, that comes from Balthazar's Herald. Balthazar's Herald has some interesting dialogue, where it says that she didn't exactly have a choice. Balthazar reforged her into his Herald. And if you look in this scene, she's actually killing the villagers and the civilians who have been trapped in this building. And she said that they're going to be reforged. And this is kind of interesting because it's almost like Balthazar is a dragon and corrupting people to get minions.
So, why is Balthazar attacking this village? Like, in particular or at all? We don't know. It doesn't say. This is just...
So far.
Yeah, it's just one little snippet of story that we get, but, I mean... The Herald runs through the village and is setting fires. There's fires everywhere. We have to help put out the fires, save the people, save the raptors. I mean, clearly, Balthazar just wants raptor pets.
They're most important.
Yeah, they are the most precious babies. In the footage going on now, you'll see that there's a bunch of different mobs. The Herald just runs past, and we have to clear out the rest of the Forge that are attacking the village. And they're not the easiest to kill. I think we had an easier time of it because we had 3 people in our party. I did it later and just by myself, and it took me a while, but I was also on a Condi Mesmer. We chase the Herald into the mine, and before she's at 75%, which was really frustrating, she just ollies out, and we have to fight 2 hounds, lots of fire, and then that combat is ended. And I believe that's the only combat we have in the entire instance.
Yes, after that, we just go around putting out fires and basically helping the villagers back up after they've been beaten to near death.
Mm-hmm.
Which you need the raptors, not just for the good of your soul, because they're beautiful, adorable, derpy puppy raptors, but also because of their jump, which is the entire point of the mount, besides being wonderful, is to jump across these long distances, which are all over this village because all of the bridges have burned down.
Safe to say
Fires.
Balthazar is burning his bridges. I'm sorry, I have to. Did you hear
It's
the
terrible.
air quotes in my voice at the same time? Perfect.
I heard it.
Wonderful.
Okay. But actually here is where I was a little bit weirded out. I played the story as a Sylvari originally, and these Elonians just like, yeah, you're Sylvari, that's cool. This is normal. despite the fact that Elona had been cut off for all that time and likely wouldn't know about the Sylvari or the Char. The Char is at least treaties with the humans at this point.
Right, and as far as the Sylvari goes, Sylvari, as far as the in-game timeline, have only been around for 25 to 30 years. And Elona's been cut off from Kryta and Tyria for, what, over 250 at this point?
It was when Zaitan rose, or I'd have to look that up exactly. But it's definitely been longer because you don't see any Sylvari in Elona whatsoever.
Correct.
The only reason I could think maybe they might already know about Sylvari and the Char might be actually because of the Zephyrites. Because the Zephyrites are mainly Elonian and Canthan, but will take on any passengers. I suspect that when they flew across to Elona and Cantha, that's possibly the time when they could have learned about the Char's treaty with the humans and the Sylvari.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and that makes sense. I just wish that ANET would have told us.
Because I'll be honest, when I first came into this demo and I got there, I expected there to be some sort of line about my Sylvari, like, what are you? You're a talking person. Like, I know they have the Iboga and the Jacaranda as well as the Choya for some of their fancy beasts that are in the zone. But they've never seen anything like Sylvari as far as I'm aware.
And I didn't see any Sylvari NPCs anywhere, but we also only saw like a small section of the map. They might be elsewhere. I guess we'll have to wait for the full thing to see.
Yeah. The only other thing I could think is maybe since Casimir and Ritlock appear here before us, that they could be the ones who have filled in the entire population of Elona, including these small farming village.
Can you imagine Casimir, like, as soon as it's known that the commander, who is a Sylvari, is going to show up, she just takes everyone aside, like, guys, the commander's coming, the Dragon Slayer, yeah, for sure. Just so you know, she's a Sylvari.
It's a plan.
Don't mention that she's a Sylvari.
Don't stare too long either. It'll upset her.
Yeah. Don't mention Mordramoth.
We don't talk about that anymore.
We don't talk about that anymore. Don't bring up Traherne. For the love of the 6, don't bring up Traherne.
Should it be for the love of the 5 now? Because, I mean, that 6 kind of turned to a not so nice person.
But, I mean, Lisso helped him, apparently, with her mirror. Or did he steal the mirror? We don't know.
We don't know.
I'm hoping that comes up, actually, because is it now? For the love of the 4? Just casually keep taking away their gods. Poor humans.
That's okay. They can get new ones. They got Coromir in Guild Wars 1. We'll get new ones. Maybe this time the commander will get to take the place.
Amazing.
Taking it.
I think next that we need to talk about, though, which is going on in the footage right now, our raptors, our precious baby children, that are the best children ever.
And they're, as you can tell, dyeable, which I did not expect and was a wonderful surprise. The sort of one thing I had noticed about this is, unfortunately, due to their textures, the dyes are all a little bit wonky. They're a little bit muddied as far as the color and darker than what the dyes will normally look like on armor.
Mm-hmm.
What's on the raptor now is actually slime green, which is the most vivid yellow-green available in our dyes.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can tell, it is certainly a yellow-green, but it's much darker and duller than slime green should look like.
And for comparison purposes, in a few seconds, I'm going to end up dyeing my character's dress the same color. And you'll see it's just super green in comparison to the raptor.
We need to talk about these idle animations.
It's true.
So as you just saw, the raptors do have a couple idle animations, and one of them is it'll sort of straighten up, look around, hop a little bit, and then start to shake, and your character will almost fall off. And the character will just look at your raptor like, "What are you doing?" And the raptor will look back and straighten up like, "Oh, sorry."
I made the mistake. I did the thing. I'm sorry. It also sits down when you don't move. It just sits there, and it's the most adorable thing. And then you scratch its neck, and it stomps its foot.
It gets a puppy. These ANET definitely did a good job with the idle animations and giving the raptor some personality to make them just a little more interesting, besides being a boring mount to stand on. But,
Yeah. I wasn't expecting idle animations.
and they stick out their tongue to make it even better that they're like derpy dogs.
They are the derpiest puppies.
But besides them being adorable, their movement is actually, I found, was great. I thought it was smooth. I didn't think it was too fast, although that is one of the complaints. However, I'll let you pick that up.
Yeah, it took a little getting used to. One thing, I move differently than most people playing the game. I have all my keybinds, but what would typically be the standard WASD is what I use to move and turn. I turn with my keys, I don't use my mouse. So whenever I would go to turn with my keys, it would be almost a complete 360, and it threw me off, and it made lining up jumps really difficult. So that's why a lot of the time when I'm running around, especially in the mine, if you look at the live stream, which I'll upload at some point, but I was really hesitant to get back on my raptor because I didn't like the movement. I didn't like the turning. I thought it was way too fast. But one thing I did notice later on, specifically in like the races that we did, moving and turning with my mouse made a huge difference.
And that's what I used to start with, which is why it felt so natural to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know a lot of people do use their mouses. Mices? Their mouse controller unit to turn and to move. I am of what I imagine to be a minority of people that use the keys to turn. But it's just a personal preference, and every time you see me stopping and the raptor just sliding, it's because I'm having to readjust and trying to turn properly with the keys, and it's difficult. Using the mouse to turn is far easier, and if you're having trouble with the speed and the movement, I would suggest giving the mouse movements or mouse controls a try before you just say, screw this mount, I hate it.
I don't like it.
Yeah, because you cannot hate the raptors. Look at them, they are the cutest.
I was actually really hesitant about the idea that Guild Wars was going to add mounts, because I actually hate mounts in every other game I've played. I hate the fact that you have to summon them, you hop on them, then you get knocked off them in combat, and then if you want to actively engage in combat, you again have to hop off of them. Guild Wars made that a lot smoother by adding that combat dismount that on the Raptors is great because it pulls everything together for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it also took me a while to get used to even just that, because in addition to turning like a scrub, I also combat like a scrub, and I am a skill clicker. So using the mouse to turn helped because my mouse was already in movement and made going over to the one button a lot easier than clicking on my hotbar normally.
I know you had said that in the very last race after you had started using your mouse, you came in first, whereas
Right.
in this one we're about to start in the video now, she came in, I don't know about dead last, but I didn't see anyone else coming in after you.
I don't want to say she came in last, but she came in last.
Look, I'm just saying.
I mean, it's true. It's true. I got stuck on everything. I fell every time. All if there was a hook or a ledge or a slope that I could get caught on, I got caught on it. I ended up doing 3 different races, and after using mouse to turn, came in first. So it really does make a difference.
Whereas I was using the mouse on. It was my first race and I came in third. I almost came in first. What messed me up was I didn't realize that the jumps actually use up our dodges. It's definitely not like one jump is one dodge. It's probably closer to 3 or 4 jumps use up the whole bar. And it actually does refill a little bit faster than endurance normally does.
That was another thing I didn't expect either. So when I realized, oh hey, I can jump and I can try and make up some of this distance, I did that, and then there was a gap, and I needed my dodge, and I didn't have my dodge. So
which was unfortunate for everyone.
Well, specifically me, but yeah. And not so much for the people behind me, but
Good news is you don't get stuck on other people's mounts.
Can you imagine if there was like a collision with?
I would rage quit. Just no.
I would have caused so many people to leave the game right then.
You would have. You would have been people all excited about buying Path of Fire, like gonna get the Super Deluxe Edition, and been like, no, never mind. I quit Guild Wars forever because of this. Because
One
of
person
Bebe.
on their stupid slime green mount. Gosh. So, also with the raptors, as you can see, you can get them into pretty precarious places, such as the windows of shops. I had wondered, mostly because, disclaimer, we're role players. So we're always jumping on things and looking for ways to get into places and trying to find nooks and crannies that others might not normally see. So in the spirit of doing that, I casually ran up the side of a pyramid shop, and I casually got stuck in the window.
Which, in the town, there's actually several no raptors allowed giant flags right outside of shops. So clearly you understand that at some point someone has run their raptors through these shops. And it also kind of makes you think about, we're sort of the tourists going through here with our raptors, doing what the residents know not to do. We're just falling in the windows, into shops, running through them with our raptors, running over people.
Those poor shopkeepers that are just like, oh god, not again. Just... Can you imagine if a raptor was stuck in a window in your shop?
Beautiful.
I would quit.
I would make nooks for the raptors, but that's just me. But one of the things you get to do is it helps you navigate the city on your raptor, and you get to see sort of the beauty of it. And a lot of people say this has kind of that Babian look to it because there is that turquoise and gold looks to it, as well as the pyramids, which I personally find very appealing visually.
Yeah, the entire map, what we saw from, like, the cities are very colorful. There's a gambling hall with an ecto merchant who happens to be a dealer, which is wonderful. But aesthetically, everything is just very pretty and gorgeous, and I love it.
Even the desert, which is pretty wide and open, generally has
no
kind
raptor
of
signs.
a nice aesthetic to it. One of the things that were there was a lot of the pyramids actually had little cubby holes where there was like little tables and pillows and chairs.
One had a cat, I think.
Yeah, it did. We didn't name it Charles, did we? I don't think we did.
I don't think we named it Charles. I don't think we gave it a name.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. How could we not give it a name?
We were clearly distracted by trying to find everything. And one of the things we did sort of wander into was there's a mini game that's also a mastery that we're actually playing here and is incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. Uh, I suck at aiming. There's a lot of things in this game that I suck at. And aiming, and I just threw the fish right at my feet. That's not where it was supposed to go. It was supposed to go to the chef. But yeah, you have to get it right. You have to do all the things within the stipulations provided, or you don't get the mastery. Um,
It's
go on.
it, it's basically an adventure without it occasionally being stopped. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but here is actually something rather important, I think, that a lot of people might have missed. And unidentified gear um, was kind of a point of contention.
Mm-hmm.
Simply because here you have to go do a heart to unlock the vendor. And the heart took about, what was it, 10 minutes, you said?
Yeah, it took me about 10. This particular heart that I did, it was the first one I came across at the time from where I was. And you basically have to bring medicine or food and water to different people in different tents. But it's not so much um, the running around. It's the running around. It's finding what matches what. And it was time consuming. So to have to do that every day in order to redo the hearts, because they recycle every day, so that you can identify your gear, just to see what it's gonna be before you salvage it. I heard that that's an issue. I personally didn't care too much about it. The main thing for me was that I got like Elonian weapon skins from it, which is fine. But if you're offering Elonian weapon skins as an incentive for buying or pre-ordering Path of Fire, which is one of the packages, I think the two upgraded packages, or
Yes.
maybe just one. You get to pick an Elonian weapon, which is like, oh, that's so cool, I get an Elonian weapon, but now it's like, I got 3 in one day. It loses its appeal and its specialness.
Exactly. Normally I don't care too much about like how special something is. It gives you that, but because it does kind of seem like it's just this map's loot, the same way the some weapons that drop in Metrica Province have a certain look, that makes it's extremely common loot, which is a little bit annoying. And I felt that once you unlocked the skins, there was never a reason to identify these things ever again, because due to the cost. Not only do you have to unlock the heart daily, but then for each piece of unidentified gear, it's a silver and 68 copper. That's more than most loot actually sells for. That's more than the mats you're going to get for it sells for. So usually, you don't even really want to identify it, simply because not only the hassle, but the price.
Mm-hmm.
I felt there was a couple ways that the ANET could fix this. There was unidentified loot in Guild Wars 1 originally and had identifying kits, rather than having to go to a merchant. If they change that to you can buy a ident kit at any merchant the same way you can buy a salvage kit, that might make it more reasonable. It's still not great because while it does clean up inventory up front, it actually adds a whole lot more time. It doubles the amount of time, even assuming we had an ident kit, to just click through everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, a lot of people don't want to actually salvage all this because it's a gamble. There's a chance you could even possibly get a precursor from this or rares. It just feels like a bad system as far as usability, hassle, time investment, because this pretty much replaces the loot in the zone. I didn't get a lot of drops, except for this unidentified gear, which again is good in helping keep your inventory level down, but awful for everything else.
I also feel like it's not necessarily helpful with keeping inventory down because you're getting all these other pieces of loot that you have to consume. I got, I think, 3 to 5 different different things that gave me karma, and I had to go through and consume them in order to get the karma. So whereas, yeah, my loot bags are condensed into these unidentified gear bags, I now have 5 stacks of random things that give me karma.
Or even there were a lot of scribe and crafting items that dropped that didn't go into the bank. Maybe that would change once the demo's over.
Mm-hmm.
However, for now, it just was stuck in your inventory, and even with the unidentified gear taking the place of most loot drops, that still got rather cluttered very quickly. Oh, we already did the bounties. Look at that Choya, who really loved you.
Yeah, so much so that I spent the entire match? It's like it was PvP, it hurt that badly. Just being run over, back and forth. I ended up, I think this entire fight took us, 5 to 10 minutes?
Probably less than 10, but definitely at least 5.
Yeah, and I spent almost the entire length of that being run over and just giving up. The group that was there, everyone stood away from me when he did the rolling attack because they knew he was coming after me.
The entire fight, it was him going for her, so if you stood near her, you were doomed.
Yeah.
People just waited until the rolling was over to go res her because it's fast enough you can't quite stay out of all of it if you use all of your dodges. But basically that kind of shows the difficulty of the bounties, which I'll let you talk about since you had looked at that more in depth.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the bounties. I didn't even notice that they were a thing until, well, obviously I knew they were a thing because I've been following the Reddits and everything, so I knew that bounties were being implemented. But we were standing outside the shop that we jumped through the window of, and one of the NPCs was announcing the bounty, giving like a little tidbit of lore here and there for each one, which was, I thought, really cool. One of them was someone who had gone mad with ley line magic consumption, which we haven't heard much about ley lines since we did the anomaly current events and the Shadowstone things. So that was fun to like at least see that like, hey, they haven't completely forgotten about it. But I really love the bounties. They were time consuming. I don't believe you can do them alone. But
no.
I mean, unless you want to waste that entire portion of your life trying to solo a bounty, I mean, live your dreams. You totally could. I would not recommend trying to do it with the Choya. But
it's also definitely not worth it as far as rewards. The rewards were fairly mediocre. There was a treasure map or treasure hunting kit. What was it?
It was a treasure hunting kit, and it basically gave you had to consume it in order to open it and use it, and then you got a special action key. It did like this radar, you followed it, found the treasure. It was blues and greens. It wasn't super special. You got some nice scribing materials, but otherwise not that great.
Actually, right now in game, not even the demo, you can actually look at the Guildhall's decorations, and you can sort of see mini previews of what's coming for the Guildhall decorations. One of them that I liked was this really awesome, like, Tower of Bones.
Ooh.
But I'll let you look at that when you're out.
Currently, right now, we're looking at the Mirage Lore that we get.
Yes.
So I love this so much. Like, one, because one of my main characters is a mesmer, so I was looking forward to interacting with this particular NPC anyway. But all over the Crystal Desert, or I don't know if it's just the Crystal Desert, I'm assuming they're going to be all over the expansion maps, are these NPCs that you get to find and stumble across, and you can ask them about the lore behind them and their profession. And it's not even just like, oh, what are you? I'm a Mirage. What do you do? I do this. What do you carry? I carry an axe. Like, it's not like that kind of interaction that you would get from, like, I believe some of the core NPCs that we've seen that you get to interact with is very, like, cut and dry. These are in-depth. It's a conversation you get to have with this person, and it gives you a lot of lore. And in the demo, we had access to 2. I didn't see the other one. I apparently ran right past him, but it was the Hollowsmith. And I will put a link to the forum thread that you can see what the Hollowsmith had to say, which was great. They talked about him getting a sword, which I didn't know. I thought they just had their holographic weapons that they could pew with, but they actually get a sword. I really love this concept of the NPCs that give you lore, not only as a role-playing nerd or a lore nerd, but just because in Heart of Thorns, we got nothing. I have no idea how you become a chronomancer. I have no idea how you become a druid, how you attain celestial avatar. You just, is it an out-of-body experience? Like, I don't know. I would love to know. And the wiki doesn't tell us. We got nothing. I know that was a big issue for a lot of people, myself included.
Yeah, here they took a lot of time to make sure it makes sense. The druid, there are already druids in Wars lore. They're humans who gave up their physical forms to become nature spirits, essentially. And so to have the ranger druid form, it looks nothing like the scene. They don't act at all like the druid skills that we've seen. So that was just always kind of strange and jarring, whereas here they took the time to say that the Hollowmancer uses the sun to power their work. The Mirage uses the magically charged sands of the desert to create their camouflage, essentially.
They're magical mirrors, yeah.
Yes.
No, I was just gonna say it's just really refreshing that they did this. I feel like the only way it could have been better is if they had Ritlock tell us how he became a revenant.
We're hoping that eventually he'll tell us, because actually in the story, your commander says, "This is the last time you're going to tell me no," essentially.
I loved that. I love that my commander got sassy. And I feel like the conversation, and you'll see it when you play the story, is really good in that I feel like it's ANET, like, you know, nodding their head like, yeah, we know, we gave you nothing. We know that you're upset. That's why your commander and the player character is upset. We get it. We're sorry. We're working on it. At least that's how I interpret it. And that's what I hope is their reaction. If we don't get anything on the Rev, I'll be very sad.
I'm sure we will. Because Guild Wars has been taking some steps to basically fix a lot of the problems that they had with HOT. HOT took so long to come out. We had, a year between when it was announced and when it came out? And then it took even longer for them to deliver on their promises. It took, 2 years to deliver on some of those,
Legendary Armor, for example, just came out a month or two ago, and we've had Heart of Thorns for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years, a week before Halloween, I think, a week or two. And it's just, even some of the things that we were supposed to get, we didn't get. There was a set of weapons. I'm nitpicking, but I really liked those weapons that we saw in the beta for that expansion that we never got. But, yeah.
Here they've already added stuff. They aren't, I think, doing some of the big overarching promises, but they are still adding all of these things in just to the base game. Ascended amulets and accessories legendary accessories weren't ever something that was really talked about, but they've already started adding stuff in that for the game already, and it's just in the base so that anyone can do it.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, wow, I never expected legendary accessories. I am hesitant to do them because I hear that it's not worth it cost-wise, but I mean, why not? If you've got the resources and the time to spend on working on that endgame content that you were never promised but was given to you anyway, I think it's worth go at least trying for it. Like, why not?
So they are definitely making some changes to what they did from their last expansion to make this one even better. The fact that it's also coming out on September 22nd, which is so soon after they'd announced it, again, after the year-long hype train that's hot that solely lost
a lot of players. I think my entire RP guild that I was with pre-hot has left from the game. One person still plays Guild Wars 2 from that group, and then not even religiously, like not reliably, I should say. And I think that's when I really got into, while waiting for hot, is when I got into the PvE and actual gameplay. I came for the RP, I stayed for the gameplay because it's such a great game. There's something, I think, for everyone, and if there's one thing you don't like, then you don't have to do that one thing that you don't like. There's, you know, PvP. If you don't like PvP, you got World v World. If you don't like World v World, you got dungeons. If you don't like dungeons, we got fractals. If you don't like fractals, we've got raids. If you don't like raids, we've got map completion. We've got world events. We've got world bosses. We've got raptor races, which
they are amazing.
There is something for everyone, and I think that this is my favorite game by far.
Guild Wars, just even the mounts, which I was extremely hesitant on, they did beautifully. And I'm super excited to see what comes in the next demos with the specializations, which coming next weekend, so pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and if you want to try out the specializations, if you're excited about, you know, this is a great MMO, it visually looks great, you want to give it a try, but you're not sure you want to invest the money, get a free-to-play account. Just sign up on the Guild Wars website, create your account, and you will have access to the next demo weekend, which is next weekend, and that is the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And you'll be able to try out the elite specializations, even on a free-to-play account. You know, it's worth it. And if you decide that you like it and you are really loving your free-to-play account, you can upgrade it. It's such a great game. I honestly believe that if you give it a try, you're not going to be disappointed. If you have been hearing about Guild Wars, but you've heard a lot of negative things, I honestly believe that you won't be disappointed. Just get a free-to-play account. Just try it out. Just check out the demo weekend. Just see if it's something that you're going to enjoy. Everyone that I have known that has tried a free-to-play account has loved the game so much that they have ended up buying it. But yeah, it's a great game, and next weekend I cannot wait to bring you footage of the elite specializations and just see what those are like in combat, because that's what I'm really looking forward to. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you have a question that maybe we didn't get to today, please feel free to leave me a comment. Check out the description box below. I will have links to the soundtracks that I used in the video, and also forum threads that you can get the information about elite specs and stuff like that that we referenced here today. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye!